So today we're going to be talking about the first system of our organ systems, and it's the integumentary system. Basically, the integumentary system is known as your skin. That's your skin, okay? And again, this is just an introduction. This isn't going through the whole thing, but this is just to give you an idea of the first system. So what does this do? This is going to protect us. The function of this is it protects us against environmental hazards. So to give you an example of an environmental hazard, the sun could be an environmental hazard. And so you have skin, which is responsible for preventing sunburn, or it gets burnt, but it'll protect against the sun. It can prevent bacteria from getting into the body because the skin cells are very, very close together. So it's hard for bacteria to get into the body. And then just other type of stuff like that. You know, if you go out and you get something on your skin, like we've all had get something on our skin, maybe some type of chemical, and the skin actually keeps it from getting further into the body. Okay, so that's the first thing it does. The second thing it does is it helps regulate body temperature. So if you think about it, when you get cold, what happens to your skin? The hairs stand up, and we'll look at that in just a minute, right? Your hairs stand up, you get goosebumps because the hairs stand up to prevent air from flowing over the skin and taking away the heat. But what happens when you get hot? It's the exact opposite. You start to sweat. Along with you start to shiver, which is the muscular system. So they work together because you're going to see not all these systems work independently of each other. So let's take a look now of the parts of the integumentary system. Okay, the parts of the integumentary system. So we have something called the cutaneous membrane. And there's basically three parts to skin. But we're going to talk about the cutaneous membrane. And the cutaneous membrane is your skin. All right, but let's just say we had a little, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. We had a little piece, a little chunk of skin right here, okay? We cut out a little chunk of skin. And it looks something like this. Just a little square of skin. So the top part of our skin is going to be called the epidermis. And the epidermis is actually made up of cells that are dead. They contain a protein called keratin that makes it waterproof. So I'm going to just put a little bit right there, and I'll make a little bit of this layer right in here too. And so this makes up our top layer of skin. And like I said, this is going to be called the epidermis. Okay, so there's the epidermis. Then the next portion is going to be the dermis. That's going to be this larger portion that's in here. Okay, and this is going to be the dermis. Okay, and that's this middle portion that's in here. So now in the dermis, we have a few different things. We are going to have, basically have hair follicles in here, and your dermis. So here's my hair follicle, and coming off your hair follicle, you actually have a gland that's called your sebaceous gland. And so the sebaceous gland secretes oil. So this gland is going to secrete oil that's going to go onto this hair cell. So let me draw my hair cell right here. Here's basically my hair, the cells that make the hair. And then here's my hair cell that sticks up like this. So this would be hair. Okay, so there's my hair. Okay, the sebaceous gland, like we said, secretes oil. And that's to keep your hair and your skin moist. Now, an interesting fact is if this hair follicle becomes clogged, what happens is your sebaceous gland continues to produce oil and it builds up and it starts to push up against this, which causes the skin to rise, and that's known as acne. Okay. The other thing we have in here is you're going to have some sweat glands that are in here also. Let's just draw those coming up and going onto the skin. So I'm going to have a sweat gland in here. Okay, and sweat glands are more of the endocrine system or the exocrine system than actually the skin. Well, it's actually a combination of both. So I'm going to have sweat glands in there. The other thing I'm going to have is I will have some touch and pressure receptors. So let's go like this, and there's a receptor there. Here's another one here, and so what these are is they're nerves. So when someone presses on the skin, it will activate these, and that's how you can tell when something's on your skin. Let's say a little bug's on there. Well, that's going to be touch and pressure sensors going off, telling you that there's a bug on your skin. Okay, so we have touch and pressure receptors also. Okay, and then on the bottom here, we are going to have, let me see if I can find another color real quick. We are going to have a subcutaneous level. Okay, this is our subcutaneous level here. So subcutaneous, what does subcutaneous mean? It's basically under the skin. So this is my subcutaneous layer that's down here. And what the subcutaneous layer does is it attaches to the skin to the tissues that are underneath. So therefore the body remains connected, or the skin is connected to the body. So that's what's going to happen in the subcutaneous level. Okay, connects skin to the body. Okay, so, and that's what that's going to do. Now, some other parts of the integumentary system is, we already mentioned hair, right? Because don't forget, you have hair on top of your head. And then you also have fingernails. So we're going to put that in here too, that you have fingernails. Okay, so if we review real fast, what we have in the integumentary system is we have the epidermis, which is the upper layer, right? We have hair follicles. In fact, I'm going to put hair follicle right here. Okay, we have sebaceous glands, which are in there with secreted oil that basically keeps our skin moist, as well as our hair, right? Keeps those from drying out. We have touch and pressure receptors that are in the skin. We have sweat glands. We have the three layers being the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous level, which will attach the skin to the body. So that's basically it for the integumentary system.